Hello, welcome to St Michael's Hill. Firstly, I would just like to say a quick thank you to all of my subscribers and everyone who's watching the videos on my channel. The response has been pretty overwhelming. As I'm filming this, I've just posted the October layout update, which has been massive in terms of views, almost at 500 in a couple of days, which has just blown my mind completely. So I'd just like to say thank you to everyone who has been checking out the channel. It really means a lot that you're interested in what I'm doing, and the comments are well received, and I really enjoy them. So thank you very much for that. Today's video is going to be based around what you can't see here, I suppose, at the moment, and that is a backscene. So at the moment there is space for a backscene, which I'll show you in a minute, but obviously there's nothing in place, which is fine, but it's definitely something that needs to be done on the layout, so it's what I'm going to be doing today. I'll show you briefly how I'm going to be putting it together, and also what I did when I was building the baseboards to make my life a little bit easier. So that's what we're going to do. Incidentally, you will have seen for the first time in the introduction to this video trains running, so that's obviously a new thing on the layout. It's good to have them finally running again. Due to the fact that there's no fiddle yard, it is difficult to have a proper running session, but for now at least, you know, they're running. The layout works, and so far we've not had too many issues, so that's definitely a positive. The fiddle yard is something that I will be building fairly soon. I'm just trying to work out the best way to do that, and we'll go from there, but it's certainly the next big job to do. So for now, sit back, grab a cup of tea or whatever, and I will quickly run you through what I've been doing in regards to a backscene. So when I was building the layout, I was watching a lot of videos by a lot of people, and it's actually a video that I think it was Richard at Everard Junction was doing, and he was saying how he was building his new backboards and allowing for a backscene to be slotted in, and I basically followed the same model. So if you can see down the back here is a slot which is the same width as the MDF that I'll be using. So basically there's a slot that runs all the way along the back at different levels and pulls out there. So I'm basically going to cut a piece of wood that's going to fit within those slots, and it should just be able to kind of slot in and out as I kind of choose to make it a bit more portable. There's one other thing to consider. The height of the backboard is going to be fairly standard, but it's about how much it goes into the slots at the back. I think a couple of inches would be fine just to keep it still, but in the river section, or the canal section down here, it obviously needs to be a little bit lower just to allow for the canal backscene here. And again, it's when I get around to painting it, which is something I'm going to talk to you about in a minute, it's just something else to consider. Maybe that's going to be slightly different to the rest of the backscene. So it's time to basically just measure out a piece of wood and get it all cut and painted. So just at the garage now, I have cut the piece of wood, measured it all out. As you saw, I forgot to film the actual cutting, but to be honest, just used the jigsaw to cut it out. It's quite a simple thing to do. I've started to give this a layer of undercoat just to seal the wood properly so it doesn't warp or bend, and then I will get it all painted up, and I'll talk to you about what's going to be going on the back scene. So back to the layout now. We're going to talk a little bit about what is going to be on the back scene. I guess there are a few options that are kind of commonly used. The first big one, I guess, is getting a printed back scene from somewhere like ID Scenes or people who make those. And it's definitely an option that I considered. The only issue I kind of find with it is that it's difficult to get the scaling quite right, and on top of that, you do tend to see the same ones over and over again, which is fine, but I don't know, it's not something that I kind of felt that I was going to really use, and also it's only a small layout, so by the time you buy a whole pack, it's maybe slightly redundant on some of it, so I decided against that. The second option that a lot of people use and do is a kind of painted custom one that they go away and they paint their own, and that's probably at this stage more probably would take more ability than I have to do a good job, to be brutally honest. Now, there is an element of that sort of backscene that I might use, but generally as a complete backscene, it's probably not for me. When I was recently at the electric train show in Milton Keynes, I was very consciously having a look at what other layouts use for their backscenes and which I felt looked best and which I didn't like. And the one that came up again and again as my favourite was just a plain blue, sky blue background. It fit me. It gave the layout a finished look without really taking anything away from what they were trying to do, and it was simple. So that's what I'm going for. It's just going to be painted sky blue, and then that'll be it. So a simple one, and initially it will just be on the back. I will probably at some point do one for this far end here, and potentially something for this end as well, depending on what the foliage comes out as, which this side certainly may not be just a sky blue. There might be some sort of road or something like that, as the bridge will have a road on it. The only place that I might do something a little bit different is down here, so it might look odd if that was all sky blue. So I might try and continue the river a little bit if possible. So effectively what's below the horizon, artificial horizon, which is where the track is, will be going off into the distance, and then above will be all sky blue. So that's what I'm kind of considering now. Initially I'm painting the whole thing just sky blue, and then I'll see how that looks down here, and if it looks a bit odd I might do something about it and just put a bit of a river going off a little way into the distance. So that's what I'm going to be going for, nice and simple, and we'll see how it looks. So the primer and undercut level's all dry now. I'm going to hit out with some blue paint. I basically went to B&Q and picked up some basically sky blue tester pots, a couple of quid each, if that. So I'm going to throw on a couple of layers and see how it looks. There's the finished result. I'm really happy with the colour. I think it's going to look really, really nice. I might do another coat, but I probably won't show you that. So I'll just give this one time to dry. If it needs it, I'll put another coat on, and then it'll be ready to go onto the layout. So, so now that the backscene's in place, you can see it's gone in really well. It makes a real difference. Obviously now I'm showing you kind of all around it, but it kind of allows closer shots like this to look far better than having a radiator behind. So it really does something quite nice. I'm going to probably, like I said, put one at either end, and at some point there'll be a fascia on the whole of the front of this to kind of really frame it. I'm really pleased with how it's turned out. I think you'll agree it looks so much better. So thank you very much for joining me today at St Michael's Hill. There'll be more modelling videos every Saturday. If you like what you see, please subscribe, and also hit that like button below. As always, comments, questions are always welcome below, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.